everybody. Dan Illman, Mike here. The DRF race of the day for Wednesday, September the 6th is race number 9 at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. It's the Circle City Stakes. Let's take a look at this field of 2-year-olds, Indiana breds running for $100,000. Please scan or click the QR code for Race of the Day access on mobile, which includes free formulator past performances. The 2 Mollystown has run twice. He's won twice by runaway margins, and he's the deserving 9-5 morning line favorite.
Yeah, yes, he's looked good in both of his starts so far, Dan. The 2 morning line favorites are drawn to the inside post, the inside 2 posts. They've already run against each other, and based on that meeting in the middle of August, Mollystown is supposed to be even a shorter price than that morning line had.
Both of those horses have good early speed. Let's see how our friends at Timeform US draw it up on the pace projector. And they have, after the opening quarter mile, the 2 Mollystown expected to make the front, but it's a fast-paced scenario potentially, Mike. Maybe it'll set things up for a closer. The horse with the fastest late Timeform US pace rating is the Steve Asmussen trained second-time starter, the 10 Castile.
Yeah, it does feel like there's speed in this race. I mean, certainly Mollystown, the morning line favorite, he's been pretty fast in his first 2 starts. The 8, Fantastic Vow, has only run once against maidens on a wet track, but he looked really fast in his race too. So I could see this pace getting heated up a little bit.
Let's start things off talking about the number 1, Good Lookin' Justice. Earned a very respectable debut Beyer speed figure in beating Indiana bred maiden special weights, a 68. Now, based on that performance, he was favored over Mollystown last time out in an allowance race. They battled early. Mollystown was just better.
Yeah, it was really no contest in that race. This horse did look really good winning first time out. He made the lead relatively easily in there. And it was only a 4-horse field, but he never really gave that field a chance. Last time, they tried to go with Mollystown on the lead early in there, and this horse was just no match in there. We'll see if he can make it closer this time.
Here's Mollystown beating Good Lookin' Justice in that race to make it 2 for 2. He settled some legitimate fractions outside of favored Good Lookin' Justice, put him away while racing off the rail, is never really threatened. He beat 3 of these horses. He got a strong 74 Beyer speed figure. There's a chance he gets to the front again, and maybe he's just too good for this bunch going 3/4.
Yeah, he might be. I mean, based on his first 2 races, he just might be the best horse in the race. He's looked good winning both times. He just galloped in here, and they didn't really send him for the lead, Dan. The horse on the rail he showed speed up to his inside. This horse wasn't sending to get by him, but he was just way too fast. It's at least worth pointing out, though, that he won his debut without the lead. Going 5 furlongs, he did not make the lead that day. He was fine sitting in behind horses, and he still won for fun. So it seems like he can do it either way.
A maiden shipping in from Chicago is the number 3, Hedgehog in the Fog, who's coming into this race off of a 3rd-place finish against open maiden specials at Hawthorne. Only received a 30 Beyer speed figure in this race, but the runner-up did come back to improve his Beyer. He would run second in his subsequent start with a 62 Beyer.
I mean, this horse just has to improve a lot based on his first 2 starts. Obviously, didn't win either time. He's not really doing a ton of running here, Dan. He is going to wind up holding on for 30. Doesn't change leads. He's not really, doing any significant running here. He makes up a little ground at the end. I don't know. I couldn't bet him off his first 2 races.
You'd think with a name like Hawkeye that the number 4 would be running at Prairie Meadows, but instead he's back at Horseshoe, Indianapolis, a debut winner. Last time out, just no match for Mollystown. Good Lookin' Justice showed brief speed that day. I wonder if maybe they change up the tactics a bit.
They're going to have to try something different. They tried to go forward last time. He just couldn't go with those 1-2 finishers. He wound up finishing way back in that field and last. His debut was good. It just wasn't a fast race.
A horse that has been running in Iowa and with some success is the number 5, Gracie's Boy Roy. Here's his most recent start. 3rd lifetime start, and Gracie's Boy Roy showed good early speed. The pace was not fast at all, however. They went a half mile in this 5.5 furlong heat in 48-1. Pretty visually impressive in the stretch, but he's going to have to go a lot faster if he wants this kind of trip on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's the one thing I didn't like about him either. I actually felt like he ran pretty well in his debut when he did have to sort of battle that pace a little bit. His second career start, he didn't run great in there, but that was actually a pretty good field. And I guess he improved last time, Dan, as he was supposed to, but he pulled such a soft trip and he still didn't run a fast race. It kind of made it hard for me to like him in here.
If you believe this pace is going to be hot, perhaps you could set things up for the number 6, Unbridled Slew, an uncoupled stablemate of your morning line favorite, the 2, Molly's Town. This horse came from off the pace to win his career debut. Was no match for Molly's Town in his subsequent start, but he's learning with each and every outing, and he should come running late.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe he didn't run as poorly as it looks last time, but he was still never involved in that race. This trainer does sort of have him surrounded. You feel like the favorite will go forward, and this horse would have sort of sit back and try to make one run here. I'm not sure if he's good enough.
The 7 is Positive Change coming into this race off of a maiden victory in his 3rd lifetime start. He rallied off of a solid pace on a wet track this day. You could just tell that the pace kind of fell apart. Everybody's in with a chance turning into the stretch, and Positive Change is the one that's going to be running on best. I thought he was pretty professional in here, Mike. You see he's kind of down on the inside. Some of these babies don't like it, but he's going to squeeze on in between and overcome some trouble.
He did do some good things here. And I guess all in all, Dan, the experience that he had probably paid off here. This was his 3rd career start. And so he was very professional there, altering course, still making a little bit of a late surge there to get up. Another horse, he's run fine in his races. He just hasn't run fast yet. He's got to get faster.
An interesting new face, if you don't care about the races that the 2 Molly's Town come out of, is the 8, Fantastic Vow. I really like this Colts debut try. Let's watch that race. 5.5 furlongs, wet track, last month at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. He was simply too fast for this field. In the blink of an eye on the turn, he opened up a big lead, and he was setting some legitimate fractions. He looks very strong in the stretch.
Yeah, this is a pretty impressive debut, at least visually. It's another race that didn't get a fast figure. But boy, does he look good winning this race, especially when you go back and pull the full replay for the race, because he didn't just, send for the lead from the start, but his rider just really couldn't hold him from making the top there. They tried to rate him. He just pulled his way up to the lead and then just blasted away from that field. He was really impressive first time out.
The 9 is Cowboy Church. This is a son of Speitster, who finished second in a well-beaten second in his debut, finishing behind Castile, who's next-door neighbor of his on Wednesday. Cowboy Church is a horse, though, probably should move forward off of that effort, but he's going to have to. He's giving up experience, and he's got to improve from a buyer standpoint.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't have a huge excuse in that race. He didn't run poorly at all. He was right up there with the pace. As he moved up to take over around the turn, Castile just went right with him. When they came into the stretch, Castile was just way better than Cowboy Church was. Maybe this horse can take a step forward this time.
Castile again has the late pace rating, the fastest one on Time Form US. He's an Indiana bred who sold for $175,000. He's certainly well connected with Steve Asmussen. Here's his debut where he settled off of the pace. He powers on home. The 62 buyer speed figure is very solid. And one of the also-rans in this race would come back to beat Indiana breds with a 65 buyer. I like the way he kicked home once he was produced inside the 3/16.
I like that too. And he was just so professional for a first-time starter early, just very comfortable sitting off the leaders on the outside, rolled up to them on the turn. He finishes the race off pretty well, I thought. It's a really nice performance, and one that just sort of suggests you can do whatever you want with this horse. If they go fast in front of him, it's probably not going to bother this horse. He might get a great trip in this race.
Completing the field is the 11, Black, White, and Gold. He is a 4th-time starter. He is still a maiden. We saw his video. He finished second behind Fantastic Vow. Just sort of chased that horse in vain. Maybe he'll get a more pressured pace to run at this time around. He's slowly getting better, you can tell, but he really has to step forward if he's going to upset this field, especially from this far outside post.
Yeah, agreed. He was really game last time chasing him, and he never stopped trying to get to Fantastic Vow. It just wasn't happening. So I gave him a little extra credit for that. I didn't like his race 2 starts back, but that was the Molly's Town race, and Molly's Town was just really impressive in fast time that day. So maybe this horse can get better.
Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for our Wednesday race of the day at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. You're going with Fantastic Vow, and I like this outside post for this horse. He's fast. I'm not sure he's completely speed crazy, and I think he can sit a good trip and should be right in the thick of things when they turn for home.
That's what I'm hoping, Dan. I mean, I was taken with his debut visually. It's not a fast race. I thought he looked really good winning, though. And I think it's a good sign of confidence they're going to run him back here in a $100,000 race. I'm going to take a shot with him here. I'm not way against Molly's Town. Molly's Town is a deserving favorite, in my opinion, and the horse to beat. And obviously that Asmussen horse, too, the 10. that horse has a real chance. I just wanted to try somebody else because I really liked the debut from the 8th.
No, Fantastic Vow is very visually impressive. I'm concerned about the quality of the field he beat compared to the kind of horses he's going to be facing on Wednesday. Molly's Town, though, unfortunately, not a lot of value. I'm curious to see how the Asmussen horse does the 10, but I just think Molly's Town is just going to show too much speed for these. He's very precocious right now. 8-2-1-10 for Mike, 2-10-1-9 for me. Your Wednesday race of the day is the Circle City at Horseshoe, Indianapolis. Good luck.